Tim Walz is under attack right now because people are learning who he is, and that is inviting a lot of attacks because he's done many disreputable and bizarre and dishonorable things in his life. So people pointed out his big achievement as governor of Minnesota was putting tampons in the bathrooms of fourth grade boys in public schools. That's a little weird. Although the Democrats are embracing it. We'll get to that in a moment. We know his other big achievement was letting Minneapolis burn down on his watch and, frankly, seeming to encourage it half the time. And then we know one of his big accomplishments is that he served in the military for 24 years and he deployed. He carried guns in war, and he's now a retired command sergeant major, except that we found out a lot of that is just complete bunk. A lot of that is actually stolen valor. And we now have proof of that from the Harris-Walz campaign. The Harris-Walz campaign has altered its website's bio of Tim Walz, removing its reference to him as a retired command sergeant major. He is not a retired command sergeant major. Despite embracing that title, it's fake. He once served at the command sergeant major rank, as Politico reports, but he actually didn't fulfill the requirements to have that title. So he doesn't have that. Walz's official campaign bio now describes him as rising to the rank of command sergeant major, but doesn't mention his rank being reduced before retirement. This is a vulnerability. Okay, what you're going to hear from the libs is, oh, this is no big deal. This is outrageous. J.D. Vance is weird for some reason. But this is crazy. This is ridiculous. Republicans need to stop this line of attack. Well, it's clearly a vulnerability for them. If they're going to alter the Harris campaign website, they know this is a big deal, and Republicans need to keep pushing on this. Okay, I in no way would diminish anything about serving 24 years in the National Guard. I think it's a little disreputable to, as Tim Walz did, say that you will deploy to Iraq or you will deploy to the Middle East if your unit goes, and then to bail out as quickly as you can when it seems that your unit actually will go. I think it is disreputable to pretend that you retired at a higher rank than you did. I think it is disreputable to pretend that you carried weapons in a combat zone in war when you did not. I think stolen valor and fraud generally are quite disreputable things. But the Harris campaign obviously thinks this is a vulnerability. Okay. If they did not, they wouldn't be stealth editing the website. There's so much more to say. First, though, go to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show. Internet service providers operate like monopolies in the regions they serve. Many of them log your internet activity and sell those data to other big tech companies or advertisers. To prevent them from seeing my internet activity, I protect my devices with ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is a simple app for your computer or smartphone that encrypts your network data and tunnels them through a secure VPN server so that your provider can't see any of your activity. Tech giants track the sites you've visited, videos you've watched, even people you've messaged online. Then they sell that information for profit. I recommend ExpressVPN as the best way to hide your online activity from your ISP. Download the app, tap one button, you are protected. I love ExpressVPN because unlike other VPNs on the market, it doesn't slow your connection. It's rated #1 by CNET, The Verge, and countless others. Right now, go to expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show. Get 3 months free on a 1-year package. expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show. expressvpn.com/Michael Knowles Show to learn more.
Hi, Michael. Chris here, Huntington Beach. I'm listening to your rant about women's boxing, and I would just like to point out a couple things. I think they've been boxing a lot longer than 2 decades. I think it's more like the beginning of the century. Women didn't get to vote until the 20s. Were we some sort of far-left, crazy, liberal, non-conservative if we wanted women to vote? And then what about skateboarding? They've been skateboarding for, 40 years. Maybe longer, I don't know. And it just got added to the Olympics. I think your logic's a little flawed here. I'd like to hear your rebuttal. In any case, pretty much everything else I agree with, and thank you for all you do.
Very good series of questions. I will take them one at a time. Yes, women have been boxing since the beginning of the century. This century, though, the 21st century, not the 20th century. There were sporadic attempts in the 20th century to institute women's boxing, but they were snuffed out very quickly. In fact, in the UK, I forget the UK political leader who, as he was snuffing this out in the early 20th century, he said, this is really weird. This is, I think, appealing to the interest for some perverse men. I'm paraphrasing, that's not verbatim. But no, it didn't exist in anything even resembling mainstream life until about 1998 in the UK, 1999, 2000, you start to see a little bit of this. And then in the Olympics, not until 2012. So no, the women's boxing, other than a few sporadic attempts that were quickly extinguished, it did not exist until about 1998. And in the Olympics, not until just a dozen years ago. But then you say, well, what about, women's voting? Now, we'll avoid any debates that any members of the audience want to have over the 19th Amendment. It's worth pointing out that there were many women who were opposed to the 19th Amendment for perfectly reasonable political concerns. However, women can vote in a way that women can't box because women do possess an intellect. What is required for voting is judgment and intellect. Women possess that. What is required for boxing is brute strength. Women generally do not possess that. And what is required for boxing is taking punches to the face. And I don't think it's ever appropriate for women to be punched in the face. So that's why I think voting is different from boxing. And then the final question, what was the final? Oh, skateboarding. Yeah, skateboarding is like a very light, easy pastime. I know you can do all sorts of tricks and everything, but it's like surf. I think women can surf too. I think women can play tennis. I think that's perfectly normal. And skateboarding, I guess, like voting, doesn't involve women getting punched in the face, which is different than other sports are not the same as full-on contact sports, especially boxing. So for those reasons, I think your refutations of my argument are ultimately unsatisfying. That was a good clip. Now, hold up, ring the bell, subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. See you next time.